Tonight, let the day loosen its grip. Not with effort, not with urgency, just gently, like untying a ribbon that has been around your thoughts for hours, like setting down a bag you forgot you were carrying. If you're listening in bed, let your body find the shape of comfort. If you're listening on a couch or in a dim room with a soft lamp, let that be enough too. There is nowhere else you need to be right now. Nothing you need to solve. Nothing you need to hold together. In a moment, we'll drift into a story about the Milky Way, our home galaxy. But first, we take the quiet road into the night, slowly, kindly, like a long exhale. Allow your forehead to soften. Let the tiny muscles around your eyes relax, as if they are done watching the world. Let your jaw unclench. Let your shoulders drop just a fraction like a curtain, settling after the last breeze. Notice your breathing. You don't have to change it yet. Just notice it. And when you feel ready, let your next breath be a little slower. Inhale, as if you are gathering the last warm light of the day. Exhale, as if you are turning down the volume on everything that doesn't belong to tonight. If thoughts wander in work, messages, memories, let them pass like thin clouds. No wrestling, no judging. Your mind is a moving sky, and you are allowed to rest beneath it. Outside your window, whether you can see it or not, the night is doing what it always does. It is opening. It is widening. It is holding the world in a darker, softer palm. And somewhere above that night, beyond roofs and branches and the little lines of city light, there is a river, a wide river of starlight. So old it does not hurry, so vast it does not need to announce itself. A pale band that humans have watched for thousands of years, sometimes with wonder, sometimes with the quiet relief of knowing there is something larger than our worries. Even if the stars are hidden by brightness, even if you haven't seen the Milky Way clearly in years, it is still there, a home you can return to, simply by imagining it. Before we drift deeper into tonight's gentle journey, remember to subscribe to Sleepy Insight channel. Here, you'll always find peaceful stories that soothe the heart and quiet the mind. Where are you listening from tonight? Leave a comment. Your presence adds warmth to this quiet corner of the night. And now, let's begin. Imagine a room that feels safe. Not perfect, just safe. The light is low. The air is comfortable. There is a blanket, a pillow, the familiar weight of rest. Now imagine, only if it feels pleasant, that above this room there is a sky, a deep sky, like dark velvet. And across that velvet runs a faint, milky glow, not sharp, not blinding, just a gentle seam of brightness like a thin brush of silver powder across the night. That is the Milky Way, as many eyes once knew it. A soft path in the dark, a quiet road, a river. People have given it many meanings: a bridge, a trail, a blessing, a story. Different images, same tender instinct, to look up and feel connected. Because the Milky Way is not only an object in the sky, it is a reminder that we are inside something vast, and that time is longer than any hard week. Tonight, we won't treat the Milky Way like a lesson. There will be gentle science, soft facts like smooth stones you can turn in your hand. But mostly, we'll treat it like a place to drift through, a place to breathe inside. So let your breathing keep slowing, not forced, just natural, as if your body is listening to a lullaby it already knows. When was the last time you looked up at the night sky and felt at peace? You don't have to answer out loud. Just let the question open a small window inside you. Maybe a memory rises, a quiet street, the smell of cool air, the hush after a summer storm. Hold it gently. And if nothing comes, that's okay too. Tonight can be the beginning of a new one. Now, let's picture the Milky Way a little more clearly. Not as a sharp photograph, but as it might appear far from city lights. At first it looks like a smear of light. But as your eyes adjust, you notice texture, grain, lace, a faint shimmer of countless points too small to separate. You notice darker lanes, like ink washed through the glow. Those lanes are not holes, they are veils of cosmic dust, fine and ancient, drifting between us and more distant stars, softening what lies beyond. And you notice brighter knots, crowded regions, places where stars gather like lanterns, not single points, but communities of light. From Earth, we see the Milky Way as a band because we live inside it. If the galaxy were a city, we are not outside looking at its skyline. We are within it, looking down long streets filled with lights. We see a river because we are in the river. Let that settle. You are inside the galaxy, not visiting it, inside it. And because you are inside it, you don't have to prove anything to it. The galaxy doesn't ask you to be productive. It doesn't measure your worth by your speed. It turns patiently, whether you are successful today or simply tired. In that patience, there is permission. If your heart feels a little tight, imagine loosening it the way you loosen your shoulders. If your mind is replaying something you wish you had said differently, let the replay soften, like sound fading down a hallway. You can set it aside for now. You can return to it tomorrow, if it still matters. Tonight, you are allowed to be unfinished. Tonight, you are allowed to rest without earning it. Let your next exhale be a small act of kindness. Let the darkness be friendly. Let the quiet be enough. Somewhere, a distant star is shining without knowing your name, and yet its light can still reach you. That is how gentle connection can be quiet, effortless, real. You don't have to chase it, just receive like warmth through a closed window. The Milky Way is a spiral galaxy. It has arms that curve outward, like slow ribbons. Those arms are made of stars, gas, dust material that can glow, and material that quietly hides the glow. Somewhere within one of those arms is our solar system. Not in the busy center, not at the cold edge, a calmer region, where space feels roomy and the sky can still be dark enough to breathe. Keep only the feeling. We live in a quiet bend of a vast river. Now imagine your attention beginning to drift. No sudden zoom, just a slow glide, like a boat moving through dark water under moonlight. We pass the planets as quiet presences, pale glows, subtle shadows. We pass the far, cold places where comets sleep. We pass the boundary where the sun's influence becomes softer and interstellar space begins to breathe in its own way. And then, gently, we are among the stars. Not the stars of a single constellation, those are patterns our eyes invent, but the deeper field, countless suns scattered like fine dust over black velvet. Some are young and bright, some are older and calm, some travel with companions, moving in slow, graceful dances. Between them is not emptiness, it is thin, whispering material, gas and dust so sparse you could travel for years and never touch a grain. And yet, over long spans of time, that faint material can gather into clouds, places where new stars begin, hidden like seeds in dark soil. When you are tired, it's easy to feel separate, sealed in a small routine, inside small worries. But in the most literal sense, you are part of this. You carry elements forged in stars that lived and faded long before Earth learned to grow trees. There is no pressure in that truth, just belonging. As we drift farther, the Milky Way begins to feel like a landscape. Dusty lanes like soft fog, clusters like distant city lights, a slow, quiet geography of glow and shadow. Somewhere ahead, we sense a different brightness. Not harsh, just more concentrated. A glow like the heart of a lantern seen from the end of a long hallway. That is the direction of the galactic center, a region rich with old light, layered history. We won't rush there. Tonight is not a chase. Tonight is a drift, because the Milky Way is not only made of stars, it is made of time. When you look up at the night sky, you are seeing light that has been traveling light, that left its star before it reached your eyes. Some began its journey years ago. Some began centuries ago. The sky is the past, arriving softly, without noise. And if that feels too big, let it become simple again. When you look at the stars, you are being visited by their old light. The past is not only behind you, it is above you. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. It can be small, a smell, a place, a song, a night when you felt safe. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. Now, let's plant a gentle seed of curiosity. Nothing sharp, nothing that wakes you too much. If the Milky Way is a river, what is it flowing toward? Not north or south, but becoming. Galaxies are not still paintings. They are slow structures. They ripple over enormous spans of time. Some astronomers suspect our galaxy is not perfectly flat. It may be slightly warped, like a wide ribbon lifted by a soft wind. Not dramatic, just a subtle curve. And somewhere in the center, quietly, steadily, there is a presence we cannot see with our eyes. Something that helps shape the dance of countless stars. We won't make it frightening. We'll treat it as part of the galaxy's music, a deep, unseen rhythm. In the next part, we'll step more fully into this river of starlight. We'll glide along the spiral arms like glowing shores. We'll rest beside clouds where new stars sleep. And we'll begin a gentle approach toward the heart of the galaxy where old light gathers and time feels wide enough to rest inside. For now, let your eyelids be heavy if they want to be. Let your shoulders soften another degree. Inhale a little, exhale a little longer. The river of starlight is waiting, and it has all the time in the world. As you continue listening, let your breathing stay soft and unhurried. If your mind is still carrying little scraps of the day, unfinished thoughts, tiny worries, the echo of a conversation, imagine setting them on a shelf beside the bed, not throwing them away, just placing them somewhere safe where they can wait without asking anything from you. Tonight, we're traveling in a gentle way. No sudden leaps, no sharp turns, only a slow widening, like a camera drifting backward into a larger, quieter scene. The Milky Way is often described as a galaxy, a word that can feel scientific and distant. But if you let it, the Milky Way can also feel like a roof, an enormous, patient roof over every ordinary human night. It has been above people who were walking home from fields, above sailors crossing dark water, above travelers stopping by small fires. It has been above children falling asleep to stories, and above elders remembering stories they once heard. It has been above joy, and above grief, and above all the quiet in between. That is part of what makes it soothing. because no matter how different our lives are, the same sky holds us. So let's set the scene more fully, as if we are painting it with slow, careful strokes. Imagine standing outside on a night that isn't too cold. The air has that gentle crispness that makes you feel awake without making you tense. Perhaps there is a faint scent of earth. Perhaps there is the whisper of leaves. Perhaps there is only stillness, the kind that feels wide and kind. Overhead, the sky is not empty. It is layered, deep, almost like you could fall upward into it. The Milky Way stretches across that depth, a pale, luminous band. Not straight like a ruler, but curved like a soft arc. It doesn't shout for your attention. It simply exists, and the longer you look, the more you notice. You notice bright specks, stars your eyes can separate, and then you notice a haze behind them. A soft glow made of stars too crowded and too far to pick out individually. And threading through that glow are darker lanes, dusty shadows, like smoke drifting through lamplight. Those dark lanes are one of the most comforting truths in the night sky. Darkness can have shape. It can be gentle. It can be part of the beauty, not an absence of beauty. If you're the kind of person who sometimes feels uneasy with darkness, you can let this idea settle like a warm blanket. Even in the Milky Way, shadow is not a threat. It is simply a veil. And behind that veil, there is more light. When people first began to wonder about the Milky Way, they didn't have telescopes. They had only their eyes, their imagination, and their need to make meaning. Some thought it was a road for souls. Some thought it was spilled milk in the heavens. Some thought it was the breath of a great sky creature. Many cultures saw it as a path, a river, a bridge. It makes sense. Our minds love to turn the unknown into something we can walk across. But here is a gentle modern truth, one that doesn't remove the poetry, but deepens it. That glowing band is made of stars, enormous numbers of them, suns, each one a furnace of light, each one surrounded by its own space, its own story. The Milky Way is not a single object. It is a vast community, and we are inside it. That idea can feel like standing in the middle of a cathedral at night, quietly small, but not lonely. Smallness can be a kind of relief. It means you do not have to carry everything. If you want, let your next breath be a little longer on the exhale. Let that relief spread through your chest. Inhale, gently. Exhale, slowly. Now, let's give our camera a place to begin. We start where we are most familiar, near Earth, near the sun, near the simple fact of being human. Picture the sun as a warm lantern, not a blazing disk that hurts your eyes, just the idea of a steady lamp. Around it, move the planets, quietly, faithfully, like thoughts that circle and return. Farther out, beyond the planets, there is a region of icy bodies, comets, and distant remnants sleeping in cold silence. And beyond even that, the space between stars begins. It is so thin that it would feel like nothing at all. But it is not nothing. It carries faint gas. It carries dust. It carries magnetic fields, like invisible threads. It carries the leftovers of ancient events, not as violence, but as memory. In a galaxy, even emptiness has history. We drift outward, and the stars become more numerous, like a city that grows denser as you approach the center. But we are still far from the core. We are in a spiral arm, a curved region, where stars and clouds of gas gather, where the galaxy's structure becomes visible in the way light clusters. If you've ever looked at pictures of spiral galaxies, those graceful pinwheels of light. Imagine that you are inside one of those arms, riding along it like a slow train through a luminous countryside. The Milky Way has several major arms, and our solar system sits in a smaller feature, often described as a spur, like a quieter lane between bigger roads. It's not the busiest neighborhood, it's not the most crowded, it's a calmer place. And that, in its own quiet way, is a blessing. Because closer to the galactic center, space becomes more crowded, more stars, more activity, more energy. Beautiful, yes, but also louder in a cosmic sense. Out here, in our calmer region, the night can be gentle. You can let this become an inner reassurance. You are listening from a calm corner of a very large home. If your nervous system has been on alert lately, if you felt like life is too bright, too fast, too demanding, this image can be a soft counterweight, a reminder that there are places that do not rush you. Now, imagine the Milky Way as a slow river current. The stars move around the center, each following long, patient orbits over spans of time that make our calendars seem like tiny scraps of paper. The entire galaxy turns. The sun is traveling too. You are traveling too, without feeling it. Not as a threat, not as a falling, as a gentle drift. There is something deeply soothing about motion you don't have to control. And here is where we place a small, quiet fact, soft enough not to wake you, but bright enough to feel like a lantern in the story. It takes the sun a very long time to complete one orbit around the center of the Milky Way. Not days, not years. A span so immense it's hard to hold in the mind. Some call it a galactic year. You don't need the numbers tonight. You only need the feeling. The galaxy moves on a schedule so slow and steady that it makes the chaos of a single week feel less heavy. If you've been carrying something, a worry, a decision, a fear of the future, imagine placing it beside this vast, steady rotation. Not to dismiss it, just to see it from a gentler distance. In the scale of the Milky Way, you are allowed to be tender with yourself. Now, let's lean into the sensory side of this scene. Because sleep stories are not meant to be held tightly in the mind. They are meant to be felt. Imagine the light of the Milky Way as a kind of glow that doesn't glare. A glow like moonlight on water. A glow like stardust caught in the air above a quiet road. The galaxy's light is old and soft. It has been traveling, thinning, mellowing, becoming gentle by the time it reaches you. Imagine the darkness between stars as a calm fabric, not a void, a velvet space where the mind can rest. The darker lanes of dust are like folds in that fabric, places where the galaxy has depth, where light and shadow make a pattern. And imagine if it helps a sound that is not a sound, the sense of deep quiet, like hearing the ocean in a shell, like standing in a museum after closing time, like the hush of snowfall far away. This is the atmosphere we carry forward, because in the next part, we will begin our gentle journey along the spiral arms more closely. We will drift through clouds of gas that look like cosmic fog. We will pass clusters of stars that feel like lantern festivals hung in the dark. And we will approach the direction of the galactic center, not with fear, but with quiet awe. For now, let your body soften again. Let your hands be heavy. Let your feet relax. Let your breath be a slow tide. And if your thoughts begin to wander, that's perfectly fine. Let them wander the way a small boat wanders in calm water. The story will continue, and you can float with it. Because tonight, the Milky Way is not a distant mystery. It is a home that holds you, and you don't have to do anything to deserve being held. Before we move on, let's place one more small object into your imagination, something you can hold without effort. Picture an old map, not large, not dramatic, a piece of paper that has been folded and unfolded many times. The edges are softened, the ink is slightly faded. It smells faintly of dust and time, like books in a quiet attic. On this map, there is no coastline, no borders, no street names. Only the night sky drawn the way someone long ago tried to remember it. A scatter of marks for stars, and one pale band sketched carefully across the center, the Milky Way. Maybe the person who drew it did so by candlelight. Maybe they drew it because they wanted proof that the world was larger than their worries. If you like, imagine your finger tracing that pale band on the map, slowly, gently, like tracing the outline of a familiar shoreline. And as your finger moves, your breathing moves too, steady and calm. Somewhere along the band, a symbol is drawn, a small star inside a circle. Not a warning, not a demand, just an invitation. As if the map is saying, there is a place we can drift to next, a place where the river of starlight becomes brighter, where the dust lanes deepen, where the galaxy's heart hums softly in the distance. And you don't have to arrive all at once. You only have to keep listening, gently. Settle again, just as you are. If your eyes are open, let them soften. If they are closed, let them stay closed. Either way, let your attention rest lightly on the sound of the story, the way you might rest your hand on a warm mug without gripping it. In the last part, we stood beneath the Milky Way like it was a roof, quiet, steady, familiar. Now we begin to move through it, not with speed, but with a slow, dreamy glide, as if we are carried by a current that knows exactly how to be gentle. Picture the galaxy as a wide spiral, like a soft pinwheel of light. Its arms are not hard lines. They are regions, broad lanes where stars, gas, and dust gather, where the glow is thicker and where the darkness has texture. We are going to drift along one of those lanes. At first, the scene feels like night on the ocean. Darkness stretches in every direction, and yet it is not empty. There are scattered points of light like distant boats. There are faint hazes like mist on the horizon. And there is a sense of depth, the kind you feel when you look into a lake at night and know it goes farther than your eyes can follow. Breathe in gently. Breathe out a little longer. Now imagine that we pass through a region where the stars are more numerous, not crowded in a stressful way, more like a quiet neighborhood with many porch lights. Each star is its own sun, and many are surrounded by their own systems of worlds we will never see directly. You don't need to think of them in detail. Just let them be there, like a city seen from far above, countless lives, countless stories, all held in the same darkness. Some stars burn with a bluish-white clarity, younger and hotter. Others glow more softly, warmer in tone, older and calmer. Some travel alone. Some travel in pairs, orbiting one another in slow, graceful loops. Two lanterns moving together, never colliding, never letting go. Between these lights, there are clouds. Not clouds like the ones above fields and streets. These are interstellar clouds, thin and wide, spread over distances so large that our minds cannot quite hold them. And yet, in the story's imagination, they can feel like fog banks in a mountain valley, soft, drifting, faintly luminous, where starlight brushes their edges. These clouds are made of gas and dust, hydrogen, helium, and tiny grains of heavier elements. The dust is not dirty, it is delicate, like flour suspended in air, like powder caught in a sunbeam. It drifts slowly, and it gathers slowly, and over long spans of time it can become the cradle of new stars. You can let that idea be soothing. Even in the deep quiet of space, there are places where beginnings are happening. If you've been through a season where you feel like nothing new is growing, where life is just repeating days, repeating chores, repeating worries, this is a gentle reminder that growth can be hidden. It can take place in darkness. It can be slow enough that you only notice it later when you look back. We continue drifting. Ahead, the spiral arm curves like a soft ribbon. Along its curve, we notice bright clusters of stars, groups that form together, like a family of lights. They hang in the darkness like a distant festival, quiet and patient. Each cluster has its own character. Some are loosely scattered, like a handful of glitter tossed across velvet. Others are dense, like a small jewel box of light. As we pass them, we don't rush. We linger just long enough for your mind to feel the warmth of their glow. Not excitement, just a calm wonder. Now, there is a soundless sensation that sometimes accompanies this kind of imagining, a sense of the body becoming heavier while the mind becomes lighter. If you feel that, let it happen. Let your shoulders sink. Let your breathing find a slower rhythm on its own. And if your mind wanders away from the galaxy for a moment, that is perfectly fine. You can wander and still be carried. In the Milky Way, there are also vast regions where the light dims. We drift into one now, an area where dust thickens, where the glow is softened, where the stars seem more distant behind a veil. This is not a dangerous place. It is simply a quieter one. Think of it like walking through a hallway with dimmer lights. Your eyes adjust, your breath slows, your thoughts become more spacious. In these darker lanes, the galaxy teaches a gentle lesson. Darkness is not always absence. Sometimes it is shelter. Sometimes it is the space that allows a softer kind of seeing. Somewhere within these veils, chemistry happens. Simple atoms meet, molecules form, not in a dramatic flash, but in patient, ordinary ways, like dew gathering on grass overnight. Over time, these clouds can hold complex compounds, the ingredients of future worlds, the faint beginnings of things that one day might become oceans, or air, or soil. You don't need to memorize any of it. Just let it be a quiet thought. The universe is capable of making gentle complexity. As we move on, we pass a star that has a thin, pale disk around it, dust and rock, forming a ring, a nursery of possible planets. The disk glows faintly, like smoke in moonlight. It is not a spectacle. It is a whisper of creation. And then we pass something even quieter. A world with no sun. A wandering planet, one that drifts alone through interstellar darkness, not tethered to any star's warmth. It is a silent traveler, carrying its own cold night wherever it goes. There is no tragedy in the way we tell it, only freedom. A long, solitary glide through a galaxy that is wide enough to hold many kinds of journeys. If you've ever felt like you are moving through life alone sometimes, let this image soften the feeling rather than sharpen it. Even a wandering world is still inside the galaxy. Even solitude is still held by a larger home. We drift again into brighter regions. The spiral arm becomes more luminous. The density of stars increases. The glow of the Milky Way, seen from within, begins to feel like a slow sunrise made of countless tiny lamps, and somewhere far ahead, the light is more concentrated still. A gentle pull of brightness, like the center of a spiral staircase where all the steps curve toward the same quiet point. We are not at the galactic center yet. We are only approaching its direction. But even from this distance, you can sense it as a presence, like knowing there is a hearth in the house, even if you are still in the hallway. Take a slow breath in. Let it out longer. Now, let's place a small pause point in the story. One of those soft rests that helps the mind stay dreamy. Imagine that, for a moment, we stop drifting and simply float, not in emptiness, but in a gentle field of starlight. The stars do not rush past. The dust does not swirl. Everything is steady, as if the galaxy is holding its breath with you. In that stillness, you might notice something. Your own life is also made of orbits. Not physical ones, but rhythms, patterns, seasons, things you return to again and again. Morning routines, familiar rooms, the faces you know, the worries you revisit, the hopes you circle. And just as the galaxy turns without forcing you to watch it, your life can move forward without you gripping every moment. You can loosen your hold tonight. If there is something you've been trying to control, an outcome, an impression, a future conversation, imagine placing it gently into the galaxy's slow current. Let it drift. Let it be carried by time, because time, like the Milky Way, is wider than a single tense thought. We begin moving again, and the spiral arm curves us onward. The lights become subtly warmer. The background glow becomes thicker. We are nearing a region where many older stars gather, where the galaxy's history is layered like sediment on a riverbed. As we glide, we begin to notice how the galaxy offers quiet neighborhoods, the way a coastline has coves where the water barely moves. Our own region is one of those coves. We are not near the brightest, busiest heart. We are in a steadier stretch, where space is more open, where the night has room to be gentle. Imagine you could see the Milky Way's spiral arms as soft brushstrokes. Some regions are painted thicker with crowded light, others are thinner with more shadow between stars. We drift through one of the thinner stretches now, and it feels like a breath out, like stepping away from a loud room into a quiet hallway. Here, the starlight is quietly abundant, but calmer. The clouds look like smoke in a dark theater, lit from behind by distant lamps. If you listen closely, only in your imagination, you might hear the hush of it, not a sound, but a steadiness, like quiet after snowfall. Let that hush move through your body. Unclench the muscles around your mouth. Let your tongue rest. Let the space behind your ribs soften. And if you like, picture a constellation you once knew. Maybe Orion, maybe the Big Dipper, maybe a pattern you made up as a child. Those patterns are not fixed shapes in space. They are lines we draw from here, from our particular corner of the galaxy. It's a tender thought. The sky's familiar faces are a gift of perspective. Perspective is soothing, because it reminds you that what feels huge up close can look different from a little farther away. A worry that fills a room can shrink when you step outside. A hard day can soften when you see it as one page in a longer chapter. You don't have to erase your feelings. You only have to give them space. So as the spiral arm carries us onward, let the story be that space. Let the galaxy's slow curve be your permission to slow down too. Nothing is demanding an answer tonight. In the next part, we will draw closer to that layered heart. We will meet the quiet conductor at the center, not as a monster, not as a threat, but as an unseen rhythm that helps the galaxy keep its graceful shape. And we will discover, softly, that our home is not in the loudest place, but in a calmer bend, an unexpectedly comforting truth. For now, let your eyelids be heavy. Let your breath be gentle. Let the river of starlight carry you. Let yourself arrive here slowly. If you notice that your body feels heavier than before, that is a good sign. It means you are settling. If your thoughts feel softer around the edges, that is also a good sign. It means you are no longer holding them tightly. Nothing needs to be sharp tonight. We have been drifting along the spiral arms of the Milky Way, like travelers on a wide, luminous river. Now, without rushing, we begin to sense a change in the current. The light ahead gathers more densely. The glow deepens. The feeling is not dramatic. It is more like walking toward the center of a large, quiet building, where the walls seem to hum with history. This is the direction of the galactic center. It is important to say this gently. The heart of the galaxy is not a place of chaos in our story. It is not loud. It is not violent. It is ancient, layered, and calm in its own way, like a deep forest that has stood for centuries, absorbing storms without needing to react. As we approach, imagine the stars becoming more numerous, closer together, like lanterns hung more tightly along a path. Their light overlaps, blending into a warm, golden haze. Dust thickens here, not as an obstacle, but as a soft curtain, filtering the brightness into something mellow. If you have ever walked through a city late at night, when most windows are dark but a few lights glow steadily, you know this feeling. Presence without noise, density without urgency. Let your breath follow that rhythm. Inhale calmly, exhale slowly, letting the breath empty on its own. Now, somewhere within this dense, glowing region, far beyond any place we could ever visit, there is something we cannot see directly. We know it is there not because it announces itself, but because of how everything around it moves. Astronomers describe it as a supermassive black hole. But tonight, we will not let that phrase carry fear. We will not imagine tearing, or swallowing, or danger. We will imagine something quieter. Think of it as a deep stillness at the center of a turning dance, like the silent point around which a slow waltz forms, like the weight at the center of a spinning top that keeps it steady. This presence does not chase, it does not reach, it simply is, and in being what it is, it helps the galaxy keep its graceful shape. You can let that idea rest inside you. Sometimes, stability comes from quiet influence, not force. The stars near the galactic center move in long, looping paths. They do not crash into one another. They do not panic. They follow rhythms laid down over immense spans of time, like notes in a piece of music so slow you feel it more than you hear it. If your life has felt noisy lately, too many demands, too many opinions, too many alerts, this image can be a balm. There are centers that do not shout. There are forces that guide without pressure. As we drift closer, the light becomes richer, warmer in tone. It feels older here, not worn out old, but seasoned like wood polished by many hands, like a book whose pages have been turned gently for generations. This region of the galaxy holds some of its oldest stars, stars that formed early, long before Earth existed, long before there were eyes to look up and wonder. Their light has been shining quietly for eons, indifferent to applause, faithful to its nature. There is comfort in that kind of endurance. Imagine, for a moment, that each of those stars is like a memory, not a sharp one, but a softened one, the kind that no longer hurts, the kind that has been folded into who you are without asking for attention. The galaxy remembers without clinging. It carries its past as a background glow, not a burden. You can do that too. If there is something from your past that still visits you at night, imagine it here, held in this warm, ancient light. Not erased, not judged, simply included. Let it be part of the larger picture, not the whole frame. Now, let's pause again in the drift. Picture yourself floating in a region where the starlight is thick, like mist. It is bright enough to feel comforting, dim enough to remain gentle. There is no sense of falling. There is no edge to fear. There is only presence. In this presence, notice how your breathing has changed. Perhaps it is slower now. Perhaps your chest rises less sharply. Perhaps your exhale lingers. That lingering is important. The nervous system listens to the exhale. When the exhale is longer, the body understands that it is safe enough to rest. So let it linger. As we remain near the heart of the galaxy, we can share another quiet discovery, one that feels less like information and more like a small window opening. The Milky Way is not perfectly flat. Over time, its disk can bend, warp, ripple, subtly, gently, like a wide ribbon responding to a slow breeze. This is not chaos, it is flexibility. It is the galaxy adjusting without breaking. Hold on to that image if you need it. Even enormous systems can bend and still remain whole. If you've been bending lately, adjusting plans, changing expectations, adapting to something you didn't choose, this is a soft reassurance. Flexibility is not failure, it is survival done gently. Now, as we begin to drift slightly away from the very center, not retreating, just widening our view, we see how the dense heart transitions into the spiral arms again. The light thins, the space opens, the galaxy breathes outward, and in that breathing, we discover something quietly profound. Our solar system does not live in the brightest, most crowded part of the Milky Way. It lives in a quieter region, a calmer lane, a place where stars are spaced far enough apart to allow long-term stability. This is sometimes described as a safe zone of the galaxy. Not because danger lurks everywhere else in a dramatic way, but because here, conditions are gentle enough for complexity to grow slowly, for planets to settle into steady paths, for life, eventually, to have time. Let that sink in slowly. We are not at the center. We are not at the edge. We are in a calmer middle. There is something deeply soothing about that placement. It mirrors a truth many people discover later in life. You don't need to be at the center of everything to belong. You don't need to shine the brightest. You don't need to be seen from everywhere. Sometimes, the best place to live is a quiet one. If you've ever felt pressure to be louder, faster, more visible, this is your permission to soften. The galaxy itself has quiet neighborhoods. Now imagine the Milky Way as a vast home with many rooms. Some rooms are busy, full of movement and noise. Some are dark storage spaces, holding raw material. And some are gentle living rooms, where the light is steady and the furniture doesn't move. Earth is in one of those living rooms. And tonight, so are you. Let that sense of safety spread through your body, through your back, through your legs, through your hands. You don't have to guard yourself here. As we begin to drift away from the galactic center, we carry with us its lesson. Strength can be silent. Influence can be invisible. And rest does not mean disconnection, it means alignment with a slower rhythm. In the next part, we will shift our focus from the structure of the galaxy to the nature of light itself. We will discover softly that when you look at the stars, you are not only seeing distance, but time. That the sky is a gentle archive of moments long past, arriving now as quiet visitors. For now, let the image of the galaxy's heart fade slightly, like a lamp being dimmed. Let the glow soften. Let the dust settle. If your thoughts are fewer now, that's fine. If they are still there but quieter, that's fine too. You are exactly where you need to be in the story. And the river of starlight continues to carry you patiently, kindly, toward deeper calm. Let your breathing be the quiet guide tonight. If your mind is drifting at the edges, half listening, half floating, that's perfect. Sleep stories are made for that gentle in-between. You don't have to hold every sentence. You can simply let the voice be a warm current you're carried by. We have moved close to the heart of the Milky Way and then widened our view again, like a slow camera pulling back from a glowing lantern to show the whole room around it. Now, in this part, we begin a softer kind of discovery, not about a place in space, but about what it means to see at all. Because, in the universe, seeing is never only seeing. Seeing is receiving. And receiving light is like receiving a letter that has been traveling a very long time. Imagine, again, a night sky above you, deep and dark, with the Milky Way stretched across it like a pale river. The stars look like small points of light, steady and calm. But each point is not now in the way your bedside clock is now. Each star is its own time capsule. Light has to travel. Even from the nearest stars beyond our sun, light takes time to reach us. And from many of the stars that make up the Milky Way's luminous band, that time is far greater, so long that the light arriving tonight began its journey when the world was different. Not necessarily in a dramatic way, just different. A tree you love might not have been planted yet. A familiar building might not have existed yet. The people you know might have been children or not born, or living entirely different days. And yet, the light has been coming anyway, quietly, faithfully. This is one of the most soothing truths astronomy offers. The sky is full of gentle arrivals, the past visiting, softly, without demanding anything. If you carry regrets, words you wish you'd said, choices you wish you'd made differently, let this truth hold you for a moment. Time passes. It cannot be grabbed, but it also brings gifts you didn't ask for. It brings quiet survivals. It brings mornings after hard nights. It brings moments of unexpected ease. The Milky Way is a reminder that time can be wide, and within that width, you can breathe. Now, let's make this image even softer. Picture light, not as a sharp beam, but as a slow ripple moving through a dark ocean. Each star sends ripples outward in all directions. You are sitting in that ocean, receiving tiny ripples on the shore of your eyes. Most of those ripples are so faint you never notice them, but some reach you enough to make a sky. The Milky Way's glow is made of ripples, layered over ripples, so many that they blend into a gentle haze. When you look at it, you are not only seeing stars, you are seeing a kind of memory, a memory the universe keeps without effort. And that can be a comfort for a tired mind, because when you're exhausted, memory can feel heavy, like a box of old things you don't know where to put. But the sky shows another kind of memory, one that is simply carried, not clutched, one that travels, not stagnates. If tonight your mind wants to review your day, let it. But let it review as lightly as starlight touching, then moving on. Now, as we drift through this idea, we can place another soft twist into the story. The Milky Way you see is not a perfect photograph of reality. It is reality filtered through dust, through distance, through time. The dark lanes are dust veils. The bright knots are crowded regions. The whole band is a view from inside, along a flattened disk. But the galaxy itself, our entire home, may be gently warped. A ribbon that bends, a disk that ripples. Not enough for your eyes to notice from Earth, but enough that, on a grand scale, the Milky Way might be shaped like a slow, subtle wave. A wave. And isn't that a beautiful coincidence? Because sleep is also a wave. Breath is a wave. The mind entering rest is a wave. You can let your own body follow that pattern. Inhale, like a wave rising. Exhale, like a wave returning to shore. And as you follow it, let the story continue. Imagine that we are drifting again, but this time we are drifting through light itself, not traveling across the galaxy, but moving through the idea that the universe is filled with messages that take time to arrive. Some stars you see tonight might no longer be exactly as they were when their light left them. Not because something terrible happened, simply because time changes everything. A star can grow older, it can shift subtly, it can move through space, and yet, the light arriving now is still real. It is still a connection. This is another gentle lesson. Even if something has changed, what you received was not a lie. It was a true moment delivered later. If you've ever looked back on a relationship, a season, a job, a home, and felt bittersweet because it changed, this can be comforting. The tenderness you felt then was real. The peace you experienced was real. The love you gave was real. Even if the form of the story shifted, the universe understands this. It sends light forward anyway. Now, let's bring the focus slightly closer to home. Still cosmic, still calm, but more intimate. The elements in your body, carbon, oxygen, iron, calcium, were not born on Earth. Not originally. They were forged in stars, in long cycles of creation and renewal. Stars are like furnaces that cook simple ingredients into richer ones over unimaginably long spans. And when those stars change, when they shed material into space, the ingredients drift outward, becoming clouds, becoming new stars, becoming planets, becoming everything. This is sometimes called being made of stardust. But tonight, we don't need the phrase as a cliché. We can treat it as a lullaby. You are made of ancient materials that have traveled. You are part of the galaxy's long story. And that story does not require you to be perfect to belong. Let this be a warm, quiet affirmation in your chest. If you are listening after a long day, if your shoulders have carried too much, imagine them being supported now by the fact that you are not separate from the universe. You are a continuation of it. And in a continuation, rest is natural. We can deepen this reflection gently, without turning it into something heavy. Think of your worries as small, temporary weather inside you. Clouds passing, wind moving through a field. They feel real because they are real, but they are not permanent landscapes. The Milky Way is a landscape, a long, slow, luminous geography that remains while weather passes. If your mind is stormy, let the galaxy be the background sky behind the storm. If your mind is quiet already, let the galaxy be the gentle proof that quietness is wide and valid. Now, I want to invite you softly to do something simple. On your next exhale, Imagine letting one worry go, just for tonight. Not solving it, not fixing it, just setting it aside. It could be a small worry, like something you forgot, or a larger one, like a decision you're facing. Choose one you can loosen without fear, and let it slide away like a leaf on water. Exhale and release. And if you can't release it yet, that's okay. Even trying is a kindness. Now, we place another pause point, a resting station in the story. Imagine you are lying under the Milky Way on a quiet hillside. The ground is cool beneath you. The air is still. The stars are steady. The Milky Way arches above like a pale river. You can see dark lanes like ink. You can see brighter knots like distant lanterns. You can feel the depth of it, as if the sky has layers, like a soft blanket folded many times. And as you watch, something shifts, not in the sky, but in you. You realize you are not outside looking at the universe. You are the universe looking at itself, softly, through a human life. That realization does not need to feel dramatic. It can feel like a sigh, like, oh, I belong, and belonging is calming. Because when you belong, you don't have to prove your right to rest. You don't have to apologize for being tired. You don't have to earn sleep with productivity. You simply return to it, as naturally as a wave returning to shore. If this part of the story brought you calm, leave a gentle comment for yourself. It can be just a few words, something kind you want to read later. A small note left like a lantern on a path. Don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. In the next part, we will move into a more story-like discovery. Worlds that drift, planets that shine in unusual ways, clouds that carry the faint ingredients of life. But we will keep it soft, like bedtime folklore made of science. No sharp edges, only gentle wonder. For now, let the stars blur slightly in your imagination. Let the Milky Way's river fade into a softer glow. Your breath is slow. Your body is safe. The night is kind. Let the story keep you the way a warm blanket keeps you. If you've been listening for a while, you may notice that your attention is not as sharp as it was at the beginning. That's exactly right. Let it blur. Let it soften. Let the words become like distant music in another room, present, comforting, not demanding. Tonight, our discoveries will be like small treasures found in the sand. Smooth, simple, and quietly surprising. Not shocking, not dramatic, just enough wonder to make the heart feel open and then restful again. We are still within the Milky Way, still inside the river of starlight. But now, instead of drifting toward the center, we drift sideways through its neighborhoods, visiting a few gentle scenes the galaxy offers. Imagine the spiral arm like a long coastline. Along it, there are bays and coves, regions where gas and dust gather, where starlight takes on different textures. We float from one cove to another, carried by a current that never hurries. The first cove we enter feels like a cosmic fog bank, a molecular cloud, vast, thin, and softly shaded. It doesn't look like a storm cloud. It looks like mist lit from behind, as if the galaxy placed a lantern somewhere far away and the fog is catching its glow. Inside this cloud, the temperature is low, the motion is slow, and the light is dim. And yet, within this quietness, chemistry happens patiently, almost tenderly. Atoms meet. Molecules form. Some of those molecules are simple. Some are more complex. Not because the universe is trying to make life, but because the universe is good at making patterns when given enough time. Think of it like dust settling on a shelf. No one commands it. It simply happens. And that, in its own way, can be soothing to a mind that feels over-controlled, like everything must be planned, scheduled, optimized. Here, in this cloud, creation is not frantic, it is not anxious, it is slow and ordinary. Now, imagine that as we pass through the cloud, the glow changes slightly, like moonlight shifting behind thin curtains. We don't need to name the compounds, we don't need the formulas, we only need the sense that somewhere in the dark, the universe is quietly assembling ingredients, like a kitchen at night where the water simmers gently and no one is rushing. If you've ever found comfort in cooking or making tea, simple rituals in low light, let that feeling blend with this image. A cosmic kitchen, quiet, patient, warm in its own way. We drift out of the cloud, and the stars become clearer again, small, steady lamps in a dark, spacious hall. Now we enter another neighborhood, one that feels almost like a storybook. We pass a star with a planet that reflects light in a strange, crystalline way. It's not necessarily a diamond planet in the dramatic sense. Tonight, we treat it more gently. A world whose surface or interior holds unusual forms of carbon, shaped by pressure and time. Imagine it like this: a distant world, turning slowly, with faint shimmer along its edge, like frost on a window catching a streetlight. Not dazzling, not blinding, just a subtle glint, as if the planet wears a thin veil of quiet sparkle. And as we drift past, we don't turn it into a spectacle. We let it be a lullaby. The universe can be surprising in soft ways. Now we move on, and the next scene is even quieter. We find a planet that does not orbit a star closely. It travels in a wide path, far from warmth. Its sky might be dark for long stretches. Its surface might be cold. But cold, in our story, is not frightening. It is simply another kind of stillness. Imagine its landscape, a plain of ice, faintly reflective, under a star field that never seems to change. The planet rotates slowly, as if it has all the time in the world, which, in a way, it does. If you've ever lain awake at night and felt the world was too loud, too busy, too close, imagine this planet as the opposite, an enormous quiet where nothing demands your attention, a place where thought can finally stretch out and rest. We drift again, and we pass something that feels like a soft miracle, but we tell it in the calmest voice possible. A pair of stars orbiting each other in a slow dance, with a planet circling both. Two suns in a sky, two gentle lamps rising and setting in long, graceful rhythms. In such a place, the light might change in unusual ways. The shadows might overlap. The evenings might be layered in colors we've never seen. But again, we keep it soft, like a bedtime illustration. A world with two lanterns. If you're someone who carries two lives inside you, the life you show the world and the life you feel privately, this image can be strangely comforting. Two lights can exist in one sky. Complexity can exist without conflict. Different parts of you can share the same space. Now, we move to one of the quietest wonders in the galaxy. Planets that wander alone. Rogue planets, worlds not bound to any star, drifting in interstellar night. Earlier, we met one briefly as a silent traveler. Now, we linger a little longer, but with tenderness. Imagine a rogue planet, like a dark pearl, floating through a vast, dark ocean. It carries its own gravity, its own internal warmth perhaps, its own slow rotation. It does not belong to a system, and yet it belongs to the galaxy. It is not anchored, and yet it is still held. If you've ever felt unanchored between jobs, between homes, between seasons of life, let this be a gentle reassurance. Unanchored does not mean abandoned. The galaxy holds wanderers too. And sometimes, wandering is simply a long way of finding a new place to rest. Now, as we continue, we begin to sense something else, that even in the quietest regions, the Milky Way is not motionless. It breathes, it ripples, it subtly bends. Remember that gentle idea. The galaxy may be slightly warped, like a ribbon that lifts and dips. That means there are places where the disk curves upward or downward, creating soft waves in the structure of our home. It's like a bed sheet on a bed. From close up, it looks flat. From farther away, you see folds, you see curves. You see the way fabric responds to weight and time. And in this image, the Milky Way becomes even more like something you can rest beneath. A great, soft fabric of light and dust, folded gently across the dark. Now, let's place a small human touch into the story. Not a character, not a drama, just a simple, memory-like scene that helps the listener connect. Imagine an old backyard, or a quiet porch, or a patch of grass behind a childhood house. Imagine the night air. Imagine the sound of distant traffic softened by distance. Imagine someone once told you, "Look, that's the Milky Way." Maybe they were right. Maybe they were guessing. It doesn't matter. What matters is how it felt. That feeling, looking up and realizing the sky has depth, is a kind of healing, because it reminds you that your life is not trapped in a small box. Even if your days feel repetitive, the universe around you is wide. And you can step into that wideness through imagination anytime. So here is a soft invitation. On your next breath, imagine your chest opening slightly, as if making room for that wideness. Inhale, letting the ribs expand gently. Exhale, letting the shoulders melt. Now, we return to the science lullaby tone again. The Milky Way contains not only stars and planets, but also the material between them, gas and dust that can glow faintly. In some regions, starlight lights up the edges of clouds like silver outlines. In other regions, dust absorbs light, creating those famous dark lanes. But here is the twist, told softly. Those dark lanes are not emptiness. They are fullness, just the kind your eyes can't see through. Like a closed curtain in a room that still contains furniture, warmth, quiet. Darkness is not always nothing. Sometimes it is something, waiting. If your life contains a dark lane, right now, an uncertainty, and not knowing this can be comforting. It may not be emptiness. It may be fullness you haven't learned to see yet. And you don't have to force yourself to see it tonight. Tonight, you rest. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. It can be a night you felt peaceful, a place you felt safe, a person you miss in a gentle way. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. In the next part, we will begin to turn from discovery toward reflection more fully. We will gather these images, fog clouds, wandering planets, two sun skies, dark lanes of dust, and we will let them become metaphors that soothe. Permission to be small, permission to be quiet, permission to be unfinished. For now, let the galaxy's wonders become softer, as if they are dimming like lights in a theater after the last scene. Let your breathing be slow. Let your jaw be loose. Let your hands be heavy. The Milky Way continues to drift above you wide, patient, kind, and you are allowed to drift too. If you are still awake, you are doing nothing wrong. If you are half asleep, drifting in and out, you are doing nothing wrong. Tonight's story is not an assignment. It is a place to rest. Let it hold you whether you are listening closely or barely at all. We have wandered through gentle worlds and quiet wonders inside the Milky Way. Fog-like clouds where stars are born, planets with subtle shimmer, two sun skies, and lone travelers drifting through the dark. Now we begin to gather those images the way you might gather warm stones from a shoreline, one by one, without hurrying until your hands feel full of calm. This part is more reflective, not heavy, not intense, just tender. Because the Milky Way is not only a galaxy, it is a mirror. Not a mirror that shows your face, but one that shows your place in time, your belonging in something wide and patient. So let the voice become quieter inside you. Let the story turn down its brightness. Let the night feel deeper and kinder. Imagine again the Milky Way as a river of starlight arcing above the world. In some places, it looks bright and crowded. In others, it is thin and faint. In some places, dark lanes cut through it like ink. And here is the first reflection, spoken softly. You don't have to shine at your brightest to be part of the picture. Many stars in the Milky Way are too faint to be seen with the naked eye. They are still there. They still exist. They still belong to the galaxy's glow. Their quietness does not erase them. If you have had days when you feel invisible, when you do your work, carry your responsibilities, show up for people, and no one seems to notice, let the galaxy remind you, not all important light is loud. Some light is small and steady. Some light is only visible up close in the lives it touches. Now, picture one of those wandering planets again, the rogue planet drifting through interstellar darkness. It does not orbit a sun. It has no warm sunrise. It travels alone, and yet it is still held by the Milky Way, still moving inside a larger home. Here is the second reflection. Even when you feel alone, you are still held. This is not a promise that loneliness will never visit you. Loneliness is part of being human, but it is a reminder that loneliness is not the whole truth. There are larger structures around you, community, history, nature, time, even simple routines that can hold you when you feel unanchored. And there are softer forms of connection too. A voice in the dark, a story at bedtime, the feeling that someone else has also been tired and kept going anyway. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. If that sentence lands somewhere warm inside you, let it stay. Now, consider the dust lanes, the dark folds in the Milky Way's glow. From Earth, they look like absence, but they are not empty. They are full of material dust, gas, the hidden ingredients of future stars and future worlds. Darkness in the galaxy often means something is there, but you cannot see through it. Here is the third reflection. Not knowing is not emptiness. Sometimes it is fullness you haven't learned to see. If you are carrying uncertainty about your work, your family, your health, your future, this is a gentle reframe. Uncertainty is not always a void. It can be a curtain, and behind the curtain, life continues to arrange itself slowly. You do not have to force the curtain open tonight. You are allowed to leave it closed and still be safe. Now, breathe. Inhale, as if you are making room inside your chest. Exhale, as if you are setting down a heavy bag. If your thoughts return, let them return, but let them sit quietly, like guests who know it is bedtime. Now, we turn to the idea of time, light as time, because it is one of the most tender truths the sky offers. When you look at the stars, you are seeing old light. The sky is a quiet archive, a museum that never closes, a library of gentle arrivals. Here is the fourth reflection. The past can visit without hurting you. Many people carry the past like a tight knot, memories that sting, regrets that replay, losses that still ache. The sky offers another possibility. The past can arrive as soft light, not as pain. This does not mean you forget what happened. It means your relationship to it can change. Time can soften edges. Distance can turn sharp moments into quieter shapes. You can remember without bleeding. If there is something you miss, you can let it be here, held in starlight, without forcing yourself to get over it. You can simply let it exist and let yourself rest. Now, we return to the stardust connection. The elements in your body have traveled through cosmic cycles. Long ago, in stars that lived and changed, the ingredients of you were formed. They drifted through space, collected into clouds, became new stars, became planets, became Earth, became life, became you. Here is the fifth reflection. You are not separate from the story. You are the story, continuing. Sometimes modern life makes people feel like machines, tasks, deadlines, notifications, schedules. The galaxy reminds you that you are made of ancient, living material. You are part of a long continuity, and in a continuity, rest is not an interruption. It is a rhythm. Even galaxies have rhythms, rotations, waves, slow orbits that take vast spans of time. Even the Milky Way may be gently warped, bending like a ribbon, proof that even enormous things can flex and still remain whole. Here is the sixth reflection. Flexibility is not failure. It is strength done gently. If you've had to adapt lately, change plans, carry unexpected responsibilities, adjust your expectations, this is your permission to see that bending is sometimes the wise way to remain intact. A tree bends in wind, so it doesn't break. A river curves around stones, so it keeps flowing. A galaxy ripples slightly and still holds its shape. And you, tired as you may be, are allowed to bend too. Now, I want to speak to the nervous system quietly, kindly, because the audience for this story is often a busy mind, a mind that has spent decades carrying lists, responsibilities, people, roles. If that is you, then you deserve permission. So here is a gentle permission, repeated softly in different ways, like waves. You do not have to fix anything tonight. You do not have to understand everything tonight. You do not have to hold everyone together tonight. The galaxy will keep turning, whether you notice or not. The world will keep moving without your constant supervision. And you right now are allowed to rest. Let that be your final permission for this part. The same kind of permission you would give a person you love. You've done enough. It's okay to stop. Now, let's bring you back to something sensory again, something grounded. Feel the weight of your head. Feel the surface beneath you holding you up. Feel the temperature of the room, the air on your skin. Feel your breath moving like a slow tide. If you want, soften your face once more. Let the space between your eyebrows relax. Let your tongue rest. Let the corners of your mouth be neutral, effortless. Now we place another small question into the night, one that helps the listener connect without effort. If tonight's story reminded you of a beautiful memory, feel free to share it below. Maybe it's a memory of looking at the sky with someone you loved. Maybe it's a memory of a road trip, or a porch, or a quiet night when you felt safe. Maybe it's simply a memory of being younger and believing the world could be gentle. You don't have to write a long comment. A few words is enough. A small lantern is enough. And if you don't want to comment, that's okay too. Your quiet presence still matters here. Now, in the next part, we will begin to slow everything down further. We will begin to dim the galaxy's images, like lights fading. We will bring the camera back toward the room you are in, back toward the weight of blankets and pillows, back toward the simple kindness of sleep. But before we do, let's leave one final reflection in the air, like a star that stays visible, even when your eyes close. Smallness is not shame. Quiet is not weakness. Rest is not laziness. In the Milky Way, countless faint stars make the glow. In life, countless small moments make the meaning. And tonight, this small moment, listening, breathing, softening, is enough. If you've been drifting, keep drifting. If sleep has been tugging at you gently like a tide pulling a small boat toward shore, let it. You don't need to resist. You don't need to finish anything. You can fall asleep in the middle of a sentence, and the story will still have done its work. Tonight, we begin to turn the camera back toward you. Not away from the Milky Way, because the Milky Way is still there, but back toward the simple, human experience of being held by a room, by darkness, by breath. Imagine we are still floating in the galaxy, but we are no longer moving forward. We are drifting homeward, slowly, like a traveler returning from a quiet journey with a calmer heart. The Milky Way's river of starlight is still above. Its spiral arms still curve. Its dust lanes still fold like soft curtains. Its old light still arrives like gentle messages from the past. But the images begin to soften now, the way a dream softens as you fall deeper. The bright clusters of stars fade to a warm haze. The fog-like clouds blur to a gentle mist. The wandering planets become dark pearls, barely outlined. The galactic center becomes a distant glow, no longer a destination, just a memory. And as the galaxy dims, we begin to notice something else more clearly. The quiet of your room, the weight of your body, the rhythm of your breathing. This shift is important. Sleep is not a sudden drop. For most people, it is a gradual return, like coming back from the edge of a wide landscape into a familiar home. That return is made of little cues. Your jaw loosening, your shoulders sinking, your thoughts losing their sharpness. So let's follow those cues gently, one by one. Feel your forehead smoothing. Feel your eyes resting in their sockets, as if they are done scanning the world. Feel your jaw unclench, the muscles near your ears letting go. If your shoulders are still holding tension, imagine them melting downward, like ice warming into water. You don't have to force it, you can simply invite it. Inhale, and notice your shoulders lift a fraction. Exhale, and let them fall, a little heavier than before. Now, let your chest be soft, not collapsed, just soft. Let your breathing be low and quiet, like waves that barely reach the sand. If your belly is tight, allow it to be loose. The belly is not a place for armor at bedtime. It is a place for breath. Now, feel your hands. Let your fingers relax. Let your palms open. Let your wrists be heavy, as if they are sinking into warm sand. And now, feel your legs. Let your thighs release. Let your knees soften. Let your calves loosen. Let your feet rest, toes unclenched, as if they are done carrying you for the day. You don't need to do anything else. You can simply be here. Now, the story becomes even quieter. Imagine that the Milky Way is still present, but no longer as a detailed picture. Now it is more like a dim nightlight behind a curtain, something you sense rather than see. You might notice this in your own mind. The images are still there, but they are fading. That is exactly the direction we want. Because the goal is not to keep you fascinated, the goal is to keep you safe and sleepy. So let the fascination soften into comfort. Let the wonder soften into warmth. Now, we bring in a gentle repetition, because repetition is one of the oldest lullabies. The galaxy will keep turning. The galaxy will keep turning. The galaxy will keep turning. Whether you think about it or not, whether you solve anything or not, whether you fall asleep quickly or slowly, and you right now do not have to keep turning with the world. You can stop. You can rest. You can let yourself be held. Now, if you'd like, follow a simple breath pattern, nothing strict, nothing that feels like a task, just a soft invitation. Inhale, gently, through the nose. Pause for a brief moment, like a tiny still lake. Exhale, longer, slower, as if you were fogging a mirror softly. Again, inhale, calm. Exhale, slower. Again, inhale, like gathering a little warmth. Exhale, like releasing the last noise of the day. If you lose count, that's fine. The counting is not important, the softness is. Now, as we return further towards sleep, we can let the story become more like a dream, a sequence of gentle images that do not require logic. Picture the Milky Way as a ribbon of pale light draped across the night. Picture it slowly dimming, like a lantern being turned down. Picture dust drifting like tiny snowflakes through dark air. Picture the stars becoming fewer, softer, farther away. And now, picture the darkness becoming warmer. Not colder, warmer. Like the dark inside a comfortable room. Some people have learned to fear darkness because darkness can feel like uncertainty. But tonight, we let darkness become a friend. Darkness becomes the soft fabric that allows the eyes and mind to rest. If thoughts appear now, like, what about tomorrow? Or, did I forget something? Let them pass, like slow clouds. You don't have to grab them. You don't have to answer them. You can say to them quietly, not tonight, not tonight, not tonight. Tomorrow has its own light. Tonight is for rest. Now, let's introduce one more gentle scene, like the final shot of a quiet film. Imagine that somewhere far above, the Milky Way watches over Earth like a silent guardian. Not a person, not a figure, just a presence. A vast canopy of time and starlight. It does not judge you. It does not demand anything. It only exists, steady and patient. And beneath that canopy, you are in your room, in your bed, in your small human life. You are safe. You are allowed to be small. You are allowed to be tired. Smallness is not shame. Quiet is not weakness. Rest is not laziness. Now, we let the story's volume drop further. The sentences become longer and slower. The imagery becomes softer and darker. The gaps between thoughts become wider. If you're still listening, that's fine. If you're already half asleep, even better. I'm going to say a few lines that can act like a gentle door closing softly, without a click. You have done enough for today. You don't need to do anything else. You don't need to hold anything else. You don't need to be anything else. Let your breath take over. Let your body sink. Let your mind drift. And if you want to leave one last gentle comment for yourself, just a small note of kindness, you can do that tomorrow. Tonight is only for sleep. In the next and final parts, we'll complete the return fully. The galaxy will fade almost completely, like a dream you don't need to remember. The room will become the whole world, and the story will end the way a lullaby ends, without drama, without urgency, just a soft, kind closing. For now, let the Milky Way dim. Let the river of starlight become a whisper. Let your eyes be heavy. Let your breathing be slow. The night is holding you. Not because you stayed awake, not because you followed every word, just because you are here, letting yourself slow down. That alone is a kind of healing. If you're still awake, let your efforts soften. If you're already slipping into sleep, let the voice become a faraway sound, like rain outside, like wind against a window. You don't need to reach for meaning now. You only need comfort. Tonight, we let the last bright lanterns of the galaxy grow distant. We have traveled through the Milky Way, like a calm river journey, past misty clouds, quiet stars, gentle discoveries, soft reflections. Now, the journey becomes less about traveling and more about fading, like a film's closing scene, where the lights dim and the story doesn't end so much as it dissolves into darkness. So imagine the Milky Way above you one last time, not sharply, not in detail, only as a pale, faint band, like a thin brushstroke across a black canvas. Now imagine it fading slowly. The brighter knots become softer. The dark lanes blur into the night. The individual stars become fewer, like lights on a distant hillside. The glow thins, quieting into almost nothing. And as it fades, the space inside you opens. You might notice your thoughts are slower now, like they are wading through warm water. You might notice the edges of your awareness are softer. That is good. That is the doorway. Let your breathing be the key. Inhale gently. Exhale longer. Inhale gently. Exhale longer. If you want, let your exhale be the main event. Let it be the signal your body recognizes as safety. Now we return again to the simplest, kindest truths. You do not need to solve anything tonight. You do not need to plan anything tonight. You do not need to replay anything tonight. The galaxy will keep turning. The world will keep moving, and you can rest. If a thought appears, "But what about?" you can answer softly, "Not tonight. Not tonight." Now, I'll guide you through one last gentle settling, like smoothing a blanket. Let your forehead be smooth. Let your eyes be heavy. Let your cheeks relax. Let your mouth be slightly open or softly closed, whatever is easiest. Let your tongue rest. Let your neck be supported. Let your shoulders melt down. Let your arms be loose, heavy, warm. Let your chest be quiet. Let your belly be soft. Let your hips sink. Let your legs be heavy. Let your knees release. Let your feet rest, toes loose. You don't need to check anything. You don't need to adjust anything. Your body already knows how to sleep. Now, we'll use a small repeating image, because repetition helps the mind stop trying to figure things out. Picture a small lantern, warm and gentle, floating on a dark river. It drifts slowly. It drifts steadily. It does not hurry. It does not turn back. Another lantern follows, and another. They drift away from you, farther and farther, until they are tiny points of light. And then even those points fade. This is the Milky Way becoming distant. This is the day becoming distant. This is effort becoming distant. You can let everything drift away. Now, a very soft reflection. For the part of you that still tries to be strong, even in bed. Strength is not staying awake. Strength is not holding everything. Strength is letting go. If you've been carrying people emotionally, financially, practically, if you've been the one who remembers, the one who plans, the one who solves, then tonight you deserve permission. Permission to stop. Permission to be held. Permission to be quiet. The Milky Way does not demand your attention to exist. It is there whether you watch it or not. And you are allowed to rest whether you deserve it or not. Now, I want to offer the community words one last time, very softly, like a note left on a bedside table. Here, no one rests alone. Every story is a soft lantern in the dark. If this story brought you calm, you can leave a gentle comment only if you want, only when you're ready. It can be a word, a place, a small memory, something soft, something kind. And don't forget to subscribe for more peaceful nighttime journeys. But if you are already too sleepy to do any of that, that's perfect too. Now, we prepare for the final closing in part 10. In the final part, we will fully step away from the galaxy's details. We will return completely to the room, to the breath, to the warmth of sleep. The ending will be a gentle door closing, no sudden goodbye, no jolt, only softness. For now, let the lanterns drift. Let the Milky Way become a whisper of light. Let that whisper fade. Let the dark be warm. Let your breathing be slow. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Nothing to do, nowhere to go, only rest. You can let go now. If you are still listening, let the listening be effortless, like hearing distant rain, like noticing the hum of a quiet room. You don't have to hold the thread of the story anymore. You can simply let the words pass by, soft and slow, until sleep takes what it wants. Tonight, we return completely. Not away from the Milky Way because the Milky Way remains above us, but back into the small, warm truth of being human in a safe place. So imagine the last faint trace of the Milky Way, just a pale suggestion of light across a dark sky. Now imagine it dimming further, so faint now that it is almost not a picture at all, only a feeling that the universe is wide and quiet and patient, and as that feeling remains, everything else can fade. The day fades, the lists fade, the voices fade, the expectations fade. All that is left is the room, the bed, the blanket, the gentle weight of your body resting, and your breath. Inhale, softly. Exhale, longer. Inhale, softly. Exhale, longer. If you find yourself thinking again, that's okay. Minds think. But you don't have to follow the thoughts. You can let them be like leaves on a slow river passing through, drifting away. Not tonight. Not tonight. Tonight is only for rest. Now, let me speak to the part of you that has been carrying things for a long time. If you are in the 35+ season of life, you may know what it is to carry responsibility in quiet ways, keeping the world running, making sure people are okay, remembering what others forget, absorbing stress so others don't have to. That kind of carrying can make the body tired in places you can't name. So, tonight, I want to offer you something simple. You are allowed to be cared for. Even if no one is physically beside you, you are still allowed to feel held. Held by the bed, held by the night, held by the steady rhythm of a world that keeps turning without demanding your constant attention. The galaxy will keep turning whether you notice or not. The stars will keep shining whether you worry or not. The Milky Way will keep flowing whether you solve anything or not. And you can sleep. Now, we bring the body deeper into rest, with a slow scan, not as a technique, not as a task, just as a gentle lullaby in words. Let your forehead be smooth. Let your eyebrows rest. Let your eyelids be heavy, like soft curtains closing. Let your cheeks be loose. Let your jaw hang slightly, relaxed. Let the muscles at the back of your neck soften. Let your shoulders sink, as if gravity has become kind. Let your arms be warm and heavy. Let your hands unclench fully. Let your chest be quiet. Let your belly be soft, open to breath. Let your hips sink deeper. Let your legs be heavy, as if they are settling into sand. Let your knees loosen. Let your ankles relax. Let your feet rest. Nothing else. Now, we return to one final image. Simple, quiet, and safe. Imagine the Milky Way, not as a bright band, but as a faint nightlight far above, behind all the roofs and trees and clouds. A distant glow that does not wake you, a glow that simply exists. It watches over oceans. It watches over deserts. It watches over cities. It watches over small rooms like yours. Not as a person watching, not as a force judging, just as a canopy of time and starlight. And under that canopy, your life is small and precious. Not because it is perfect, not because it is impressive, but because it is yours. Tonight, you don't have to be anything else. If you want to leave a final gentle comment for yourself, you can tomorrow. A small kindness, a quiet note, a reminder that you rested. And if you want to stay with this channel, if these stories bring you calm, don't forget to subscribe to Sleepy Insight channel. But for now, let even those thoughts fade. Let the words fade. Let the image fade. Let the breath remain. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. The exhale grows longer, and the body understands. Safe, warm, quiet. Now, just a few final sentences, like the last lines of a lullaby, spoken so softly that they can blend with the dark. You have done enough. You can rest now. You can sleep now. Good night, and let the galaxy keep watch for you.